Greetings! Titus Naranjako, your Lord and Emperor here at the Dracovin Empire, and welcome once more. Are all of you out there having a wonderful day? Are you ready to dive back into the Pathfinder world of Golarion? Because that's where we're going on today. Whether you're joining me, of course, live on Twitch or later on YouTube. Hey, YouTube, just for you guys over there, please remember to appease the great dark algorithm of YouTube and like, subscribe, ring the bell, and of course, comment. And my comment to both you and the Twitch side is, have any of you out there played a Trox? And I'll include, for this case, Starfinder too, because Trox is a alien species to Golarion, and shows up in Starfinder. We will talk about it today. But if I'm going to talk about sources that you can look into Trox, which I will include the Starfinder book if you want to look into it a little bit more there, you of course can start with the book, which is the Inner Sea Races. That's a point where you can look into Pathfinder stats on it, but Bestiary 4 also includes information on it. And again, the Starfinder book is Alien Archives 2, if you want to look on the Starfinders. So this is our friend, the Trox. Who are the Trox? That's a very good question. They're a race of anthropoidal, monstrous humanoids that are original natives to the Lavarian moon of, I'm going to butcher this, Nechak. Originally, they were thought to have been some kind of eight-legged arachnid, though the variant found outside Nechak are anthropoidal humanoids. They technically are on Nechak. That's a Starfinder thing. We'll kind of talk about it when we talk about their history and setup there. Their two central sets of limbs atrophied. Their muscles allowed their legs and upper arms and fleshy tail to kind of grow in power. They have a natural exoskeleton which enhances their body, and mandibles that expand into bony sights. So they're very powerful beings that have kind of transformed from their original arachnid form. Now I'm going to throw out here a Trox picture from one from Starfinder. That probably could be used here as we kind of talk a little bit about them. And, so, as I said, they're originally these anthropods, arachnids on Hylax. On Nechak. Until a powerful being, an incarnation of their ruling Forever Queen, Hylax, basically transformed them. The Forever Queen is their kind of like insectile queen. And we know from the Starfinder it's the goddess Hylax, basically. Which is an insectile goddess. So it's information that's not revealed until the future, but still, she basically is like the contingent of these Trox that had been uprose from her for an interplanetary mission, an extension. Basically, we were divided and iskanded into shielded asteroids, and then magically ejected out of Livara's orbit, sent off into space from the sheltered moon. Now, these asteroid planets reached a number of locations, and one of them, or a few of them actually, landed on planets in the Golarion star system. And that includes Golarion itself, where one of them dug deep down into the Darklands near a Hyungar city. The Hyungar there basically, unfortunately, enslaved the emerging Trox, bred them for strength and brutality. And after a few generations, these hulking Trox were bound to their masters by fear and pain, and memories of their ancestral home, deep in the stars, faded. So, yeah, unfortunately, the Trox of Golarion have gone through some terrible stuff. But over time, there are some groups of them that have escaped from the captivity, and several clans have been able to reach the surface world, whose residents are just as, and unfortunately, there's plenty of residents on the surface, they're just as eager to go against them there. So, yeah. It's unfortunate. So it's like in Starfinder, they are aware of what happened to their cousins on Golarion, and not happy about it. Very anti oppression and slavery, all about freedom. But your average Trox that you would find on Golarion nowadays, where they prefer things like tropical deserts, tend to be reclusive, xenophobic, and have grudges or resentment towards other species. Especially for the mistreatment that they've had for generations here on the planet. But nonetheless, they are inquisitive, and deeply loyal to those that would show them kindness, and loyalty back to them. So, it's not as though you could not be allies with the Trox on the surface. It just, those scars run deep on them, for those that have been on Golarion. Very deep. And of course, there could be Trox from other planets in the system. So, it's not necessarily that you have to just play a Trox from Golarion. And that's that for Trox. Isn't a lot about it, and I think I wanted to talk about it because it is a Starfinder species that you can play in normal Pathfinder. It's got kind of basic information for it. It's an ancestry that has existed in both those version systems so far apart. And yes, the chances of playing a Trox that doesn't have a lot of trauma or distrust and stuff like that on Golarion, that's native to Golarion, basically been born there, not native, born there at least, it's kind of low. The stuff that they've gone through for generations, the unfortunate mistreatment that Hyungar gave them, these big insect creatures, Hyungar aren't necessarily terrible a lot, but they take advantage of situations a lot of times. And these beings which seem just as simple as the spiders and beetles that they train for guards and mounts, well, they probably didn't understand that there was something more to these alien creatures. It's a giant rock that fell through space and dug into the planet, into the Darklands. It's beyond anybody's comprehension in a lot of ways. And I'm not saying that they didn't do terrible things to the Trox, which they did. But I think it's sort of like, you cannot blame all of them for what those chose to do. It's what you can do with a lot of people and species. You can hold their society accountable. You really can't blame all of them, the individual. And it's the same with the Trox now. They have to, hopefully those that have become free, those that are coming to the surface, can learn what it means to be free, and means to gain something of their own society. Now that they have an opportunity to. And maybe learn to trust, because yes, there are some awful beings out on the surface, but there's plenty of great people too. Just as there probably were great people in the underground. You just have to find the right ones, and meet the right ones. It's unfortunate. So, hopefully, we'll see. I don't know what we'll see much of, because again, we kind of know where they end up in Starfinder. And the Golarion Trox disappeared with the planet. So, the ones on the other planets, they're still around. Were they connected with the ones on Golarion at the time of the disappearance? That forgotten time in Starfinder? Who knows? Who knows that they'd intermixed at that point in time? There's so many questions that are unanswered with the Starfinder setting. We might never see this before. Leave some questions on the path the Trox will take. Anyway, I'll leave that there for now. I hope you did enjoy meeting the Trox. A tragic figures. An interesting, monstrous humanoid group that is from another planet, from another moon, and ended up on Golarion. If you want to see more of my things, especially tabletop stuff and Pathfinder stuff, you can always check myself out. Meet me out live Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, back of day. Thursdays is normally the Pathfinder day. It's early to mid-afternoon, depending on my schedule. I put it in my social media, Discord, Twitter, when I'm home. I basically give you an idea. One of these days I'll get a better schedule. Anyway, I also do other tabletop-related things you might want to check out live, or over on YouTube later on. Crimson Queen, I'm going to shout that out. It's my live play Pathfinder 1st Edition, 9 p.m. EST, and of course, discussing tabletop Saturdays at 6. Talk about news and deeper discussion topics to help out players and GMs improve themselves. Anyway, I'll leave that there for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a good rest of your day. I hope you enjoy the next time we talk about any kind of tabletop stuff, whether Pathfinder / Golarion stuff, or somewhere else. And until the next time we chat, I bid all of you out there a deep and wonderful farewell.